It's Friday, April 19th. I'm Daniel Williams, field organizer and legislative specialist with Equality Texas, and we're recapping the 14th week of the 83rd Texas Legislature's regular session. We've only got 38 days left, so let's get right to it. On Tuesday, the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee heard HB 3324 by Representative Garnet Coleman of Houston. The bill would add gender identity or expression to the state's existing hate crimes law. Currently, the hate crime law allows prosecutors to seek tougher penalties in cases where crimes are motivated by the perpetrator's bias against a list of universal traits that have historically been the basis for widespread and systemic discrimination in our culture. That list includes race, religion, color, sex, ability, sexual preference, age, or national origin. These are all universal attributes. Everybody has a race. Everybody has an age. Everybody has a national origin. And they've all been the basis for widespread, historic, and systemic discrimination. Likewise, gender identity and expression are universal traits. Everybody's a gender identity, everybody has a gender expression that have historically been the basis for widespread and systemic discrimination. And that's why gender identity and expression belong on that list. We've put a link to a video of the hearing in the comments, so you can see for yourself how it went. Warning, some of the questions and the testimony of one of the witnesses may be difficult to watch, but the hearing went very, very well, and I'm excited that we've begun this important conversation. On Wednesday, the House Higher Education Committee heard HB 1568 by Matt Krause of Fort Worth. Krause's bill was originally filed would give officially recognized religious organizations at Texas universities special rights to discriminate based on race, gender, and sexual orientation. Now, every student at every university has a right to form a club around whatever idea they want and to meet on campus. That's not what we're talking about with HB 1568. What we're talking about are officially recognized clubs that get financial and material support from taxpayer-funded schools. This isn't about freedom of speech. It's about the ability to demand that taxpayers pay for your clubhouse. Once that happens, the state has a responsibility to be sure that every student has equal access to the clubhouse. Plain and simple. Krause has offered a compromise bill that's even worse than the original. Where the original granted special rights to religious clubs to discriminate, the compromise bill forbids schools from imposing any non-discrimination policy on any of the school-supported clubs. We'll be watching this one very carefully. On Thursday, the House Public Education Committee was scheduled to vote on HB 1568 by Drew Springer of Munster. Springer's bill originally would have reduced state funding for public school districts that offer benefits to the unmarried partners of their staff. This is another situation where the author has offered a compromise that's actually worse than the original. Springer has written a compromise substitute that would require the immediate decertification and defunding of any school district that the Attorney General determines has taken an action in conflict with the state constitution. This is an unprecedented expansion of the powers of the Attorney General. The AG is the state's lawyer, and in that capacity he routinely issues legal opinions that serve as guidance to state agencies. However, and it's important to note this, the AG's opinions do not carry the weight of law. They are only advice. Only the legislature may write laws. Springer's compromise bill would effectively grant the AG the power to shut down any school district with no appeals process. Thanks to the efforts of hundreds of you who called the members of the Public Education Committee, HB 1568 was withdrawn from consideration, but it could still come back, so stay tuned. Next Wednesday, the House Economic and Small Business Development Committee will hear HB 238 by Mike Furial of San Antonio and HB 1146 by Representative Eric Johnson of Dallas. Both bills deal with employment discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity or expression. Employment discrimination against the LGBT community is a very real problem. These bills would allow the Texas Workforce Commission to investigate claims of discrimination in an open and fair process without creating a civil liability for employers. Tune in next week and we'll let you know how the hearing went. Until then, I'm Daniel Williams, field organizer and legislative specialist with Equality Texas.